I have the distinct honor of introducing our guest speaker today, Commissioner Steve Bradshaw. Graduated from Armstrong State College in 1986 with a bachelor's degree and entered the United States Army as a second lieutenant. He served as a tank commander and spent several tours, one in Germany, Fort Knox, Kentucky, Fort Benning, Georgia, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq during the first Gulf War. He's been awarded the Meritorious Service Medal and 2 Army Commendation Medals, and his final assignment was as a leadership instructor at the U.S. Army Officer Candidate School. He is now serving his second term as a DeKalb County Commissioner for District 4 and the presiding officer of the Board of Commissioners. I'd like to welcome a fellow veteran, Commissioner Steve Bradshaw.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And now we're engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place to those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. And it is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us. That from these honored dead we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. And that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. And that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom. And that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. I love those words. Good morning.
Good morning.
That was a little weak. Let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is a great day to be an American. And it is great to be together in person. Thank you so much for affording me the opportunity to be with you as we commemorate Memorial Day. I'd like to thank Major Mike Carlson for that kind introduction. Thanks to your mayor, Lynn Deutsch, your city council members, and all of the citizens of Dunwoody for welcoming me here today. Over the past few years, I've had the great opportunity to get to know Mayor Deutsch. And to the people of Dunwoody, I say to you that you're very fortunate to have such a dedicated and courageous leader for a time such as this. Not only do I consider Lynn to be an outstanding colleague in public service, I also consider her to be my friend, and I thank you, Lynn. I also want to thank the Dunwoody Veterans Events Planning Committee for the great opportunity to be here today. And I want to thank my friend and your communications director, Jennifer Betcher, for personally extending the invitation to me. I've known Jennifer for at least 10 years, and I value and appreciate her friendship. I also wanted to acknowledge the presence of my folks from American Veterans Post 44. Is the post that I belong to. I see my post commander, Al Wright, and his lovely wife, Arthurine. Thank you all so much for being here and for the other members who are here to support. I also would be totally remiss if I didn't acknowledge the presence of my friend, your great former mayor, General Denny Shortle. Denny. Denny did us the great honor of giving inspirational marks at our Board of Commissioners meeting last Tuesday. He did an outstanding job, and I value the General's friendship and mentorship. And I also want to thank my great friend and colleague from our Board of Commissioners, your Commissioner Robert Patrick. Give him a hand, he deserves it. We've gotten to know each other and work together over the past 5 months, and this man is a wonderful public servant. So several years ago, when I was teaching at Georgia State University in the public policy school, I would begin every semester by reciting the Gettysburg Address. And I would do this to set a tone for these students of government, these students of public policy, to set a tone for the semester and to gently remind them that this experiment in self-government that we call democracy is very fragile and sometimes has to be defended with the lives of its citizens. And thus we commemorate Memorial Day to pause and reflect on those who gave their lives that this nation might live. Now, years ago, when I was a young Army officer serving in the Middle East during the first Persian Gulf War, I was very fortunate in that I did not lose any of my soldiers to combat operations. But then again, the ground war only lasted 4 days, and thus our exposure to hostile enemy action was pretty limited. But there are legions upon legions who preceded me, who were not so fortunate. The freedoms that we enjoy today were purchased and paid for by those who fought and died in the Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and all of the other conflicts in between. And then there are those who have come after me, those who fought and died in Afghanistan, in Iraq. And you may recall back in 2006, 2007 time frame, when the war in Iraq was not going very well. Casualties were mounting. Now there's a show called This Week. It airs on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. on the ABC network. And during the time frame of which I speak, there was a segment that they would run near the end of the show called In Memoriam. And during this segment, they would highlight our soldiers who had died in combat that week. And this really started to affect me. So much so to where when this segment would come on the air, I would quickly change the channel for a moment or leave the room for a moment. And then I quickly realized that what I was doing was wrong. Turning away from that which doesn't please us is easy to do. And I realized I was doing dishonor to those departed souls. So I stopped doing that. And I would sit there and I would watch it. And the presentation was very, very simple. It would simply show the service member's name, their branch of service, their rank, their hometown, and their ages. 18, 19, 21, 23, never coming home again. And every now and then the ages were a little bit older, 36, 39, 43. And for every one of those names, there was a mother or a father or a spouse or a child that grieved. Now, I do not share this with you today on this beautiful day to put anyone in a somber mood. That is not my intent. It is simply to underscore that the enormity of that sacrifice is very real. Yes, Memorial Day is about service. It's about sacrifice. But it's also about one more thing. And that thing is called love. Love. Love of country. Now think about the love that it takes to leave the safe confines of this country, to leave the people that we care about, friends and family, to deploy to some usually awful place halfway around the world, and to willingly submit to the possibility of losing your life in defense of our interest and our way of life. This is indeed a love story. So as we consider that love, as we consider that sacrifice, I put the following question to all of us today. Are we worthy? Are we worthy of that sacrifice? The sacrifice of those who died that this nation might live. Are the lives we lead worthy of that sacrifice? Is the way we regard our country, is the way that we regard our fellow citizens worthy of that sacrifice? Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I put that question to myself, and you know, y'all, I like to think I know the answer, but if I'm honest with myself, if I'm being honest with myself, the honest answer is I don't know. I do not know if I'm worthy of that sacrifice. I am uncertain, but I do aspire to be worthy. I do aspire. Now, having said that, there is one thing that I can say for certain. The day ever comes when my country needs me again, when my service is required again, I would not hesitate to answer that call. I would do so without any pause or reflection. An out of shape, 58-year-old man with a bum knee, I would strap on my old tanker boots again and I would say, let's get ready to rumble. Because I believe there are some things worth fighting for. There are indeed some things worth dying for. And the way of life we have here in this country is certainly one of those things. So as we prepare to depart each other's company and carry on with the rest of our Memorial Day observances, I ask, my ask of all of us is that we hear and reflect upon the words of President Abraham Lincoln speaking to us across the many decades, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the city of Dunwoody, and God bless the United States of America.